I think what I'd like to do, Dan, is kick this off for us to discuss the damaging effects of EMF satellites, the Doppler radar, cell phones, computers. Everything has an effect on the human body, animals, plants, you name it. And for many years now, I've known how EMF, and I've shared this with people over and over again, how the EMF can break through the human biofield. We all have a human biofield around our body, and literally destroy the oxygen that is carried by the endothelial cells in the lining of the blood vessels. Well, this is not good, because when you stop that life force oxygen that's flowing through the bloodstream, well, it's over. You're dead. Right. I mean, there's no getting around it, So what can you add to that, Dan?
Yeah, there's so much more information coming out today than there were just 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It's a massive amount of information that's coming out now, and it's all that's a good thing. That's a good thing for us, because there's a long history of the electrification of the world that goes back a couple hundred years, and we are all been oblivious to it for the most part until the last decade. But this awareness now that's coming out is really leading to some interesting understandings about how our body works, what the foundation, the root cause of our health is, and what leads to dis-ease or harmony. And we want to live in harmony. We're created in harmony with nature. We were meant to be in nature, grounded, walking barefoot, maybe even, but grounded, right? In nature. And nature was meant to be a healing force for us as well. And we've gotten so far removed from that really what we need to do is get back to nature. But how do we do that when we have so much electricity going in and around us, whether it's from the power lines or it's from the wireless networks, the wireless communication, all the cell towers, the Wi-Fi routers, the Bluetooth devices, smart devices, and now this whole new thing of these just a mass adoption of these satellites, low orbit satellites. They're up in the ionosphere, but this network of satellites is changing the environment. And whether you think it's changing it for the good or for the bad, it is changing it, and it's moving it further away from what it was designed to be into something that is artificially made, affected by what man's making. There's a few different ways you look at how EMF affects the body. There's different views on what the cell is, but apart from that, what we do know is, regardless of what you look at the cell biology is, the body's made up of water, a significant percentage of water, and water can get irradiated by all the artificial man-made EMF. And when it does that, the difference between natural electromagnetic waves, natural photons, and artificial is that natural, when it builds up on the cell walls, it actually leads to a neutral, or it zeroes itself out and neutralizes it comes to a zero voltage on the cell wall. Whereas the man-made is actually polarized, and what it does is it adds up and it becomes cumulative in its function. And so when it becomes cumulative, that's what leads to a voltage on the cells, and it disrupts the water, the fourth phase of water, the gel-like crystalline structure of the water plasma in our cells, as well as it disrupts just the function of the cell and the mitochondria. So EMF has this ability to do that, and every source is its own layer of stress, and that stress ultimately leads to dis-ease or dysfunction. And really what we want to do is find our way out of that, get back out of all that extra voltage on the cells, and get back to a neutral, balanced state, so that the sun can be functional again and our bodies can be functional again at their highest state.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, oxygen, water, and minerals, that is always and will always be the natural laws of health. This is the way God made it. There's no getting around that, and that's just the way it is. Now, we're going to...
well, one other thing I'll add to that is that what we've also learned in oxygen, you mentioned it, is vital, right? It's in our atmosphere. It's critical for our well-being. But what happens with the oxygen molecule is it gets disrupted by EMF, by that artificial man-made electromagnetic field. And what'll happen is it'll either spin up in energy or down in energy, and it'll polarize that oxygen molecule. So for that split second, when it spins up in energy or down in energy, it's not readily available for the biochemistry with, say, carbon to make CO2. So our respiratory issues, so we get oxidative stress, or it's not available to make O3, which is ozone. So then our atmosphere can be affected by the fact that oxygen is not readily available for these chemical processes. And so if we
Exactly.
can mitigate the effects of EMF, we start to bring oxygen back into balance, and all the molecules back into balance, and they start working better together.
Exactly. Exactly. But it makes total sense too, Dan, because the human body is bioelectric. We are not biochemical. The way science and medicine wants us to believe. And as a holistic doctor of lymphology, you and I have the same understanding about the mitochondria in the body and the biophoton energy that the mitochondria makes, right? And this is what all your products do, is amplify the same biophoton energy. So moving forward here, Dan, can you share how you infuse the plasmatics into your products? I've had people ask me that already. So
Absolutely, yeah. So we can go into a little detail. There's a whole world of physics called plasmonics. You can research that. It's surprisingly large part of the global GDP, and it influences so many things. In fact, it's used in diabetic needles. It's used in semiconductors and a lot of satellites. They'll use plasmonics on a lot of their solar panels for optimizing how light interacts with those panels. Plasmonics allows you to manipulate the surface of a metal and how it interacts with light. So we have designed back 30 some years ago, began research. At the time, we worked with a lot of universities and agencies to develop and prove out that we could develop a device that you could put the metal plates through, and it would restructure the actual surface metal of the metal plasmonically. And now that creates a structure in here where light, when natural photons hit it, it redirects it in a very strong beam of light right off the surface of this plate. So these are very directional in what it's doing, but we put in what we call, it's kind of a big word, but it's called resonant photonic harmonics. So everything, if we think about what Tesla said, if you want to understand the world and the way we live, you think about frequency and vibration. Everything is in resonance and is resonating. This metal is resonating. So are the photons. When energy hits this, when light hits this, that photon, a little bit of energy goes into the metal, but a majority of it is going to reflect back off with the properties of this metal, which is why we see it as silver. We see that wavelength that is this color, but that photon that is interacting with our eyes to allow us to see this has harmonics on it as well, and it absorbs the energy that we embed in these plates, so that when it interacts with our body, it's taking all of those harmonics with it. So it's through a process called plasmonics. It's a chamber, and it's a pretty manual process. It's a lot of labor. It takes a few weeks to actually produce these plates, and then each plate has multiple orientations that we have to be very specific on how we align these plates. So it's quite a process to produce these, which adds to the cost of the product. But the application is extremely straightforward for the user. So what we've done is we've made a product that we can use very easily, but it's a very complex process to get there.
Great. So when you say when the light hits the surface, now are we talking about natural light outside or indoor light? Does it make any difference as long as it's light?
That's right. Yeah. Any form of natural photons, any light that hits this, whether it's from your body that's produced, this pendant, ideally, we encourage you, recommend you to wear it underneath your shirt. I get a lot of questions about that. People are asking, well, when it's under your shirt, is it working? Well, your body is producing light, but there's also natural light that goes right through the clothing as well, that interacts and activates these plates. So I call it activated photonic plates, energy plates. but there's a very remarkably small amount of photonic activity is required to activate the plates. So
Okay, great.
even at nighttime, you could put it under your pillow. It seems to us very dark, but photonically speaking, there's still plenty of activity going on there.
Great. Now, what you just brought up about wearing it too, I've not made mention here because you said to me before, we really want to wear this over our thymus gland, folks. The thymus gland actually is where T cells and NK killer cells are manufactured for your immune system. So the whole idea here is the thymus gland is about the size of a walnut, by the way. So it's right here below your breastbone. You can't miss it. So if you bring it down, Dan's got instructions how to lengthen your pendant and everything. Wear it right over that, so you'll keep that thymus gland vitalized and just keep it very, very powerful. So right. I've had a lot of natural healing tools across my desk over the last 30 years, but I'm truly excited over the healing effects of your biophoton energy. It's really amazing. I have had the opportunity now to work with your essential pendant that I'm wearing here. My wife's got a pendant on too. Your pocket pendant, which I'm going to show right here. Okay, so everybody can see what the pocket pendant looks like. Okay, you can see the indicator line at the top there. We'll explain that to you later. And also your 4-inch tower. Okay, the light tower here. This thing, it just blows me away. Every day I get blown away by this one.
And some of us need the extra help. Unfortunately, we do need tools today. There's a lot. We need minerals. We need good water. We need good air to breathe. But sometimes we need that extra help.